buenas tardes una vez más aquí como siempre saludándolos desde los estudios de El Mexicano, tvnews.com, claro que sí, el mexicano tvnews.com. Yo soy su amigo de siempre, Fernando Zapari, y bueno, el día de hoy tenemos a nuestro buen amigo John Ryers, el abogado John Ryers. Él ha practicado leyes por más de 35 años. It's a great honor, great pleasure to have you here in our Mexicano tvnews.com. Welcome, Mr. Ryers.
Thank you for that.
So you have been practicing law since, or for over 30 years. Is
Oh,
that correct?
certainly.
Yes.
Approaching 40.
Yes. And you graduated from this Bloomington,
Indiana University School of Law in Bloomington. Correct.
Again, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to visit with us. But we would like to know, in your experience, and I know you travel, Northeast Indiana.
That's correct.
You represent, many of your clients are Latinos, Hispanics, and you had come to Logansport, Elkhart, Goshen, Albion, Ligonier. Tell us what's the most common, what's the most common situation that you deal with? Okay.
Most common is the offense of driving without a license, never receiving a license. That is the most common. It's not a problem if it's the first offense. That's rather easy for me to deal with the prosecutor. So often we have young people and older people who, of course, are unable to obtain a driver's license, but with the way life is lived, driving is imperative. You have to drive. So people are forced to drive without a license. And often they will make some driving mistake, or in the small communities, the police know people and they know who has a driver's license and who does not, so they'll just come up with some excuse to stop somebody, saying that they have a tail light that didn't work, or they've changed a lane too quickly, and stop them and arrest them for driving without a license. If it is a second or third offense, it could involve jail time. And so my job as the attorney for that individual is to keep them out of jail. And I'm fairly successful at that, unless it's, say, a third or a fourth offense, in which case then prosecutors will insist on the defendant serving some time in jail. Now, I've been pretty successful at talking the prosecutors into reducing the jail time down to anywhere from 2 to 4 days, and then from there I've been successful at getting judges to agree to let the defendant serve those 2 or 4 days on the weekends, breaking it up. And the reason for that is that it is important that the undocumented Hispanic not spend any amount of time in one of these jails in northeast Indiana more than just a couple of days. Because if it's more than that, then Immigration and Customs Enforcement will get involved, and there is a likelihood that they will put a hold on the individual for something as simple as driving without a license.
Once again, we're talking to our very good friend, Attorney John Ryers, el abogado John Ryers. Attorney John Ryers is a proud sponsor of this program, Que Pasa, over MexicanoNews.com, and on RadioLatinoTV.com also. And so the most common problem that Hispanics, Latino face in Northeast Indiana, what you've seen, the most common problem is driving without a license. Of course, like you say, and like you mentioned, it's so difficult to get or to obtain a driver's license if you don't have any documents, you know, to be in the country legally. But again, you know, years before, you know, 4 or 5 years, there was no problem. And of course, everything has changed, okay? Now, tell us about a broad picture of what you do besides, you know, I know that you do also business situations, nonprofits. Tell us a little bit more about what all you do to represent people. I know that you have represented people with some felonies also, and tell us about
Sure,
it.
yes, in addition to the kind of the myriad of misdemeanors, I also represent individuals in serious crimes, felonies, of all sorts, domestic battery, their sexual assaults, false documentation, those kind of crimes, and that's on the criminal side. On the civil side, I do a lot of real estate work. I advise people regarding purchases of homes. So often the Hispanic community gets taken advantage of when they try to purchase a home. Now, quite often a family will not qualify for a mortgage because they do not have proper documentation. So the other approach to buying a home is to buy it on land contract. That's tricky. It is really important, if you're thinking about buying a home on land contract, see a lawyer. I do land contracts all the time, and without a doubt, we find places in these land contracts where we could get interest rates reduced, more monthly payments reduced, terms more favorable to the Hispanic buyer than is usually offered. That's on the real estate side. I represent a number of businesses. Fernando, you and I have seen so many times
many times,
when a Hispanic fellow will come in and say, I gave my friend $10,000 and he said I now have an ownership interest in his restaurant. That was 3 months ago, now he won't talk to me. And we say, well, where are the papers? Oh, we don't have any papers. We were friends. Well, if you will please come to see us, come to my office, and we will work through the appropriate documents. It's not complicated. If you will come see us, we can work through the appropriate documents to protect your money, to make sure that you actually do have a legal interest in the business and a way of getting your money back out if you want to. Now, that's not to say that if you invest in a business that you're not incurring risk, because you are. But if you come and see us, we'll make sure that your transaction is legal and enforceable.
Once again, we're talking with our very good friend, Attorney John Rogers. Attorney John Rogers has been working and representing the Hispanic community for the past almost 40 years.
That's correct.
Everybody and anybody. But in the past 6 years, you've seen your business kind of not really focus more on Hispanics, but because of you being a sponsor with Pasa and El Mexicano newspaper too, your business has seen a tremendous, I'd say, traffic of Hispanics, you know, seeking guidance. And this is very important. Like when you mention come and see us, first thing that I think about, you know, if it was me, yeah, right, come and see us. It's going to cost me $300, $400 to come and talk to Mr. Rogers, because we all, it's true. I mean, we all, it's the mentality. When you go and see an attorney, you're going to pay $300 or $400, $200 for consultation. How much does it cost to consult with you, to comfort with you?
Fernando, you and I have had an understanding for the past 5 or 6 or maybe 7 years that we do not charge Hispanic clients for the initial consultation. So it doesn't cost you anything. If we decide that there are legal services that we can provide to you, then we work out what it will cost after that. But there's no charge to come in and talk to us. And we will, you and I, and Fernando, by the way, attends most of the conferences. He interprets. I have limited Spanish-speaking abilities, and so Fernando was there, and we talk with people. Part of this is it's a commitment to the community. I've been doing this for a long time, and I like to help people. I like the sense that people feel relieved when I've given them some advice, and half the time they leave without needing anything further.
Yeah, half of the time we advise and you don't really need an attorney, but most time they really don't need an attorney. Or we can only do so much for you in this case. It's not worth paying us, and be careful, because there will be someone else that will provide those services for you, telling you they're going to do this, they're going to do that, but in the end, really the outcome is going to be the same. Estamos hablando aquí con el abogado Jan Riders. Una de las preguntas que le hicimos es cuánto cuesta por una consulta con el abogado Jan Riders en cualquiera de estos temas, o más bien que él representa, ¿verdad? Que puede ser un caso criminal, puede ser un caso también acerca de bienes y raíces, o compró un carro, etc. La consulta es totalmente gratis. No se le cobra ningún centavo, al menos que se pueda hacer algo por usted. Entonces ya se le dice, ¿verdad?, cuánto, si usted quiere que el abogado Jan Riders lo represente, cuánto es lo que se le va a cobrar. Una vez más, las consultas son totalmente gratis, y las oficinas del abogado Jan Riders están ubicadas en el 444 de la calle Main Street, aquí en Fort Wayne, Indiana, la suite 202. Si usted quiere una consulta gratis, totalmente gratis, para usted, para su amigo, para un familiar, un conocido, una conocida, lo único que tiene que hacer es marcar el 260-704-0682, 260-704-0682. Una vez más, la consulta es totalmente gratis, depende de usted, ¿verdad? Y depende también del abogado si puede ayudarle en cualquiera de sus servicios. Once again, thank you for being a sponsor of ¿Qué Pasa? In el MexicanoTVnews.com, and also for in ¿Qué Pasa? En RadioLatinoTV.com. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, my privilege.